This is Retro. I'm back. Hey, I just want to give my thoughts. What I heard about the news flying around that Sony is doing censorship. Newsflash: Sony been doing censorship since the PS3 era. When it came down to home. That's when I stopped being on home because of the censorship. And then that's the day when Sony PS3 home had fell apart. Nobody didn't want to go to it no more because I remember the time when Sony, had home, you were able to talk through your microphone and able to communicate with other people, through your microphone. It was a whole lot of stuff going on. I didn't dislike it though. I loved it. It was fun to me. But Sony turned around and put a censorship on home, and that's how home died. Online gaming was never, online, communication was never Sony big strong point. Never ever, and it never will be Sony big line of defense versus Microsoft. Everybody remember in the 360 era that Microsoft had a strong force when it came down to online gaming. They didn't have no censorship, it was freedom of speech. Microsoft didn't have censorship with the 360 era till later in the 360 era. I guess in the mid with Microsoft. With Xbox Live, in the 360 era, when they had online gaming, freedom of speech, you could say anything you want to say. And I guess that when Gamergate came in or whatever, and stuff like that, everybody, using fake harassment and stuff like that. And then when Microsoft, stopped freedom of speech when it came down to Xbox Live on the 360. Then that fell apart. You know what I'm saying? Microsoft, if anybody who's strong when it comes down to online gaming is Microsoft. They the king of that. You know what I'm saying? While Sony on the other half never was a strong force in online gaming. Sony's strong force always been, talking about the pros and the cons, always been single player game players. That's the reason, that's what keeping Sony alive right now, is single player gaming. Everybody's still buying God of War right now. I just, shared, about PlayStation Universe was showing off the NPD numbers. And most of you see up there, there's not online communication gaming, is Spider-Man Miles Morales. Everybody's still buying Spider-Man and God of War. And none of them games is online requirements. None of them. They all single players. So people wonder and say, sit there and say how they mouth run around you and say, oh, they're going to hurt Sony and all this gloom and doom crap. Dude, that's not going to hurt Sony at all. Because you know why? Because all Sony base was never built, from the online base. It's never built like that. Because that's not Sony's strong point. The online base was always Microsoft. And will continue to be if Microsoft do it right. How you think how Game Pass is a big thing when it comes down to Microsoft or Xbox owner that's out there? Why do you think that's so big versus Sony continue to push out single player games? The reason why the single player games are Sony strong base, and the reason why they continue to be in first place, because of single player, not because of online gaming. Online gaming is their weak point, not their strong point, and never will be their strong point, online gaming. Because too much censorship going on. Now, when Xbox came out with the first Xbox, online, free speech. Then when it hit to the Xbox 360, online, free speech. But in the midst of that 360 era, with Gamergate and all this stuff started coming out of hell or Woodward, wherever they came from, then that when censorship came in. And then that went home, with censorship. I think Sony was the first one that censored theirs, first when it came down to home. And then Microsoft came along with Xbox Live, with censorship with Xbox Live on the 360. So, dude, I'm just saying, man, stop with this doom and gloom because none of y'all don't know what you're talking about. Y'all keep on saying that this was her Sony, and that'll never been Sony's strong base online game. Even today, that never. Sony had an axe with Microsoft help, and this is hilarious to me. Sony, I heard rumors, and whether it's true or not, that Sony went and asked Xbox, Microsoft, for the support about online gaming. Because that never was their strong point, and it still won't be today because everybody's stuck in single player. That's what keeps Sony in number one, that single player thing. You know, that online thing never was their strong point. So, dude, get your head out of your butt on that, dude. Get your head. That go for a crap game with anybody who say nonsense like that. Single player, no, online game would never been Sony's strong point, but that would have been Microsoft's strong point, and both of them is pressing to do censorship. Microsoft last month was talking about censorship. So both of them is bad when it comes down to the censorship nonsense. But for Sony talking about censorship, Sony don't need to talk about censorship. Because you know why they don't need to talk about censorship when it comes down to online gaming? Because their online service, you know, when it comes down to gaming, suck real bad. And when Holmes, you know, went to that censorship, that's when I got off. I'm talking about home was fun. Oh man, it was a glory day. It was fun when you were able to talk on your microphone and trash talk to a lot of people. It was fun. I don't know what. But when that censorship came in, I stopped. I was like, I don't want to fool with home no more, man. That's trash. That's trash. I was praising it. I was happy to have home in the PS3 era, but home failed. Home failed when that censorship kicked in. And that never been Sony's strong point since. That when Sony started falling apart when it came down to online gaming and stuff like that, and it still fall apart today. So only Sony's strong point, and I love to say this over again because you Xbox fanboys and other people don't understand that Sony strong point always been single player. Let me repeat that again, kids. Sony's strong point always been single player, and it is today, and it will always will be. They strong point, Blu-rays and single player. They kill online gaming when they kill home on a PS3. I don't see no changes in that today, and I won't see it in the future. Now Microsoft kind of little have a future for itself, but at the same time, they also censoring too when it come down to online gaming. So hey, there you have it. My name is Retro. I'm out of here, man. Peace. I'm out. One.